Hi, I'm Barbara Truitt, one of the CMS literacy specialists, and I'm super excited to be here with you today to give you a tour of one of our new and exciting resources, the standards-based report card data trackers for kindergarten through second grade. These trackers are part of our curriculum guide resources for 2020. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you know how to navigate to these amazing resources. To find these trackers, you want to start on the All Things Literacy Canvas site. Here is the All Things Literacy Canvas site. You want to find the tab or the button for your grade level. And in this instance, I'm going to be modeling with first grade. So as a first grade teacher, I would want to find the first grade tab. Next, I want to go from the curriculum guide landing page to the module guide. You'll notice in the module guide landing page that the grading guidance section that was previously under construction is now open and ready for use. To find the data tracker, you'll want to click here on the Grade 1 Data Tracker. I already have this open, so I'm just going to switch to my Open tab. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to remind you that the original trackers were made for the curriculum guides to show modules 1, 2, and 3, and 4 over 4 quarters. But because we've transitioned to a remote learning pacing calendar, we have updated the trackers. You'll notice that only quarter 1 is showing right now. As we release additional content in the remote learning pacing calendars, we will also release additional tabs that align to your remote learning pacing. I want to first show you the top row of our data tracker. This top row shows you the different sections that are assessed on our standards-based report card. As you can see, I'm scrolling through from reading to foundational skills, section 1, to section 2, 3 sections of writing, speaking and listening, and 2 sections of language. Remember, we are looking at the first grade example. When I pull up the first grade standards-based report card, you'll notice that the sections align exactly. We have reading for literature, reading for informational, 2 sections for foundational skills, 3 sections for writing, speaking and listening, and 2 sections for language. The thought here is that we want to make sure that this tracker aligns directly to your standards-based report card so that you can easily use the data from this tracker to enter your scores in your report card. One final note about the standards-based report card is the report card rating columns at the end of each section. This is where you will determine your rating for the report card. If you need help in how to determine what data point to use to put in this final column for each section, you may want to check out our Canvas course on the standards-based report card grading. Now let's look at the second row. The second row shows us the different standards within each section. When we're looking at the reading for literature, you'll notice listed is RL 1.1, RL 1.3, RL 1.4. You'll see as I'm clicking on each of these cells, a pop-up note comes up with the specific text of each standard. For example, standard RL 1.7 is use illustrations and details in a story to describe its character, setting, or events. Hopefully, having this extra little hint here will help you with identifying each of your standards. If you want to add an additional standard that's not listed, you have the option of doing the drop down. This would be when your PLC decides to add an additional task that may not have been already loaded into the tracker. For example, my PLC might decide that we want to add RL 1.2 with different tasks down here at the bottom. It's important to note that within each preloaded tab, within each preloaded section, these are the standards that align to the assignments for that quarter. Now, let's look below the standards at the different tasks. Like we just said, the standards that are loaded at the top in row 2 are the standards that are assessed from L Education during the current quarter. Likewise, in row 3, the tasks that have been selected are tasks that come directly from the L Education curriculum. For example, you'll see in this first cell the M1 U2 RL checklist. You'll notice throughout this tracker that we use the content abbreviations. This assignment stands for Module 1, Unit 2, Reading for Literature Checklist. If I scroll to Reading Foundational Skills, I'll see an abbreviation for BOY assessment, BOY benchmark, that's the beginning of year benchmark. And then I'll also see C2 through 4 assessment dictation. This stands for cycles 2 through 4 assessment and dictation. Again, in certain instances, you'll see a pop-up note that will come up to provide you with more clarification as to what that assignment might be. Once again, if your PLC decides that you want to add an additional task that is not already identified as part of those that will be assessed during the quarter, you have spaces in each section or standard to add additional tasks. This is something that you can decide as part of your PLC. There's a couple more things that I want to show you while we're looking at the task row. First, I want to point out that you will find the same task repeated in multiple sections. This will happen if that task or assessment assesses multiple standards. For example, the M1 U2 RL checklist will come up in different categories. This is because it assesses RL1, RL3, and RL7. Another thing that you can do to customize, other than just entering additional tasks in the open columns, is add a column of your own. For example, if my PLC decides that we want to add another task to RL 1.1, I can click on the column within this section and insert a column to the left. By inserting to the left, it keeps my section header intact, and I can add the new task. Now I have a new task under RL 1.1. We've looked at row 1 and row 2 and row 3. Now we're going to very quickly look at row 4. Row 4 allows you to enter the date in which you assign each task to help you stay organized. Row 5 gives you an example of what it would look like to enter student data. Remember, we want this to align to the standards-based report card. By doing this, it will help you to keep track of the different mastery ratings that you are giving students. Students will get a D for developing, a P for progressing, an M for mastery, and an E for exemplary or exceeds mastery. If you remember on your standards-based report card, a rating of NI means that that standard was not indicated or that you did not have enough data to fully assess that standard. There is another way that you can enter data to utilize the features of this tracker. Instead of entering a D for developing, you can use a 1. By using a numerical representation, it will automatically auto-format the colors on the tracker, giving you a different visual representation of the students' scores. The important thing to remember is that a 1 would equal developing, a 2 would equal progressing, a 3 would equal mastery, and a 4 would equal exemplary mastery or exceeds mastery. If you are assessing any of these preloaded assignments that are shown here, you will find rubrics and checklists within our curriculum guide grading guidance that will help you to determine what mastery rating to give to students. Remember, if you in your PLC create your own additional assessments, you will also need to create your own additional rubrics that align to the North Carolina standards for that objective. The last thing that I want to show you before we end our tour is the L Education Benchmark Grading Guidance. When you click on this ending tab here, you will come to the L Education Benchmark Grading Guidance. We developed this guidance to help you take your benchmark data and translate it to an assessment data point that you can put in your data tracker to assess students and determine how they are doing on grade level standards based on the benchmark assessments. Let's look at an example. If I am looking at the first grade guidance, you'll see that I have the spelling inventory and decoding, and I also have fluency. These are the benchmark assessments that are priority for first grade. You'll also notice that each assessment has an accompanying standard that is aligned to the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. We want to take what students, the microphase that students land on, and translate that to a data point based on each of these standards from the Standard Course of Study. So if I have a student who took the spelling inventory at the beginning of the year and they fell in the full alphabetic microphase, but they got a score of a 6 out of 12, that's a great score for the beginning of the year. That shows me that the student is working within the full alphabetic range. But what assessment data point can I use in my data tracker? For my data tracker, this student would be progressing. If I have a student who fell in the consolidated alphabetic phase with 5 or more on their spelling inventory for consolidated alphabetic, on my data tracker, I would indicate that that student exceeds for this data point because they are already at the beginning of the year performing above the grade level standard expectation. Hopefully, this benchmark grading assessment guidance will help you determine how to use each of your benchmark assessments to determine a data point that you can use to assess foundational skills and language standards. I have one final note for you before we end the tour, and that is about student privacy. I want to remind you that any student data that you enter into this tracker or any Excel or Google tracker must be kept confidential and secure. You'll want to ensure that you are the only person that has access to the electronic and/or paper copy of the tracker. If your tracker is stored in Google Drive, disable the ability to copy or download. It should be set to private just to you. The Family and Education Rights and Privacy Act is a federal law that protects the privacy of student educational records. Make sure that you are following those policies and protecting your students' data. I want to thank you so much for watching my screencast tour of the Standards-Based Report Card data trackers for kindergarten through second grade. I hope you learned a lot about this tool, and I hope you can see the benefits that it will have to help you organize your data and prepare you for entering scores into your standards-based report card. Have a great day.